right. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to do a more traditional series of exercises. So you can set your springs to your footwork settings, or if you tend to be kind of average, like I'm gear bar 2, stopper 3, I'm going to use my universal settings the whole time because I can flex that much of my knee and my hips. So if you have the mobility, feel free to set yourself in the universal settings. But if you've got stuff going on with your knees or your hips, then you'd want to set yourself up in your footwork settings. All right, so footwork settings, footwork springs. We're going to start laying on our backs. Let's make sure the headrest is down and bring your feet up onto the bar. Take your legs pretty wide apart so your feet are about as wide as the widest part of your hips, and bring your knees towards each other as you roll your hips up, and then bring your knees away from each other as you roll down. So you're doing a hip roll, you're articulating through the spine, you're letting the knees open and close to increase the movement through the lower back and through your spine, through the front of the hips. We've got 3 red springs on there, so it should feel like the carriage doesn't move too much. Rolling up, knees together, rolling down, knees apart. One more time, rolling up with the knees together and rolling down with the knees apart. Awesome. Once you get your spine back down, bring your heels together and your toes apart in your first position. Find the center, use your hands to measure the distance between your hips and the side of the carriage so you're sure you're in the middle, and then press out, feel long, keep the length as you come back in. So the feeling I have is that like the foot bar and the shoulders are trying to squish, shoulder rests are trying to squish me, and I'm trying to stay long against that, especially as I come in. So I'm not just letting everything turn off to come back in. Neutral pelvis the whole time. Fully straighten the legs, zip up your inner thighs each time. You can have the headrest adjusted any way that's comfortable to you now. One more time, come all the way back in. Rotate your legs to parallel with the legs all the way together. Let's have the toes wrapping around the bars. And I say toes, but it's really the metatarsals, so it's not just your toes. It's kind of the ball of the foot, pushing out and in from there. Straighten the legs fully, pulling up around the knees. A little chilly today, so let's get moving kind of continuously so that you warm up. Pushing out and pulling in. Keep all your toes wrapping around that bar. Like if you made a fist with your hand, that same feeling of clenching the top of the foot around the bar. And one more time, come all the way back in. Bring the heels up onto the bar. Same thing, push out, pull in. Keep the surface of your feet where they are. So you're not pulling your toes back with you. You're keeping the surface of the feet where they are like you would if you were standing on the floor. Yeah, exactly, very nice. Push out through the back of the legs, fully straighten. Two more. And then come all the way back in, just drop down onto the balls of the feet. Push the legs all the way out to straight, lower the heels, lift the heels, bend the knees and come back in. Do that a couple times, adding one each time. So now you lower, lift twice, lower the heels, lift. You can do this on your own timing. Adding one each time, we're gonna go all the way to 6. Feel that you're evenly pushing through both legs. You might have a dominant leg that wants to kind of take over. Make sure you feel like both legs equally contribute to this. Pushing out, lower and lift. Feel the connections of the back of the leg, not just the ankles popping up and down. It's really all the way up into the glute and hamstring. Good. Try not to make it a pop of the ankles, knees straight. See if you can straighten your knees a little more, Anita. Yeah. And it might reduce the range of motion, but it should feel a little harder. One last set, even if you're already done with all 6, do one last set of 6 so we can all catch up together. lower, lift. And then when you're done with that, push out and go into running, and we'll all catch up with each other. One heel lowers, one bends and lifts. Push, pull feeling. Yeah, exactly. Make it a little more continuous. So it's a little faster. Faster will be harder because you're trying to stabilize the pelvis as the legs are moving. And then bend the knees, come all the way back in. Take your legs, hands on your knees, and just stir your legs around a couple times one way and a couple times the other way, circling your legs around. And then put your heels on the bar, turned out at the corners of the bar. Push out, so laterally rotated, and bend and come back in. Heels are on the bar, you're trying to activate through the back of the leg, keeping the pelvis neutral, so just keep kind of checking in, making sure you're not flattening the lower back as you push out and in. Surface of the feet are staying where they are the same the whole time, so they're not pulling back towards you. Turned out, so your knees are going out over the center of your foot. Your legs are on a little bit of a diagonal. And come all the way back in. Heels in line with the widest part of your hips, but parallel. And press out and in from there. So it's like a squat. And pushing out, pulling in. Each time you come back in, feel like your knees are reaching out of the pelvis up towards the ceiling, so you're not kind of sinking into it. Should feel like just as much work to come in as it does to press out. Two more. And then return. Roll to your side, sit up, and take one of the red springs off. So you just have two reds. And then you can lay back down. Bring the balls of the feet onto the bar in line with the center of the hip joints. And let's lift one leg up to tabletop. Keep the pelvis stable. Push the carriage out. And as you come back in, bicycle the leg out over the bar. Push, pull. Try to straighten each leg. Keep the standing heel where it is the whole time. So you're on the ball of the foot. On the bar is the ball of foot. Yeah, exactly. And you're pushing out and pulling in, trying to leave that high half toe position. Nice. Come all the way back in. Bring your heel onto the bar. Flex your foot and reach your leg out on a diagonal as low as you can keep from gripping. And then push out and in, just a couple. So you're just holding the leg straight. If it feels like it's aggravating the front of your hip, then bend your knee a little bit. One more. Good. Come back in, put that ball of the foot on the bar. The other leg comes up to tabletop. Pelvis stays level as you press out and reach out over the bar. Trying to keep from side bending, keeping everything really stable. Nice. Feel that push, pull. So imagine if you had a flex band on the foot that's in the air and you're pushing against it as you reach out over the bar. So it's equally active as the standing leg. Two more. And then come all the way back in. Heel goes onto the bar. Extend the leg, reach out as low as you can hold, and then keep the leg in the same place as you reach out and in. If it's bothering your hip, just bend the knee a little bit. We're trying to strengthen the hip flexors, so you will feel it in the front of the hip. Last one. Come all the way back in. Good. Make sure the headrest is down for a minute and heels on the bar in line with the center of the hip joint. Round your pelvis under, roll your hips up again like we did at the beginning, open across the front of the hips. Stay there. See if you can push the hips up a little more and connect the ribs down and in so you're opening the front of the hip, and then roll back down through your spine. One vertebrae at a time. Return the pelvis to neutral. One more time. Roll your hips up. Inhale at the top and exhale to roll back down. Good. So then from here, we're going to take the straps in our hands and reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Just connect your abs into your imprint. Lift one leg up and then the other. Push your arms down along your sides. If this feels too heavy, feel free to switch to lighter springs. If you need to switch to universal settings, you can. We did these for 100 years without the idea of universal setting. It's a long story why that came into play, but it doesn't really matter for average height people in this context. So you decide. It's also why there's that double D-ring on the strap, because you could just shorten the strap and fold it over to make it a little shorter if it were too long. Good. So from here, you can choose if you're going to do this with your head up or your head down. We're going to go into our 100. So your arms press down, you flex up, you can extend your legs if you like, pumping the arms. Inhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling. If it's too much, just bend the legs in. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling out through pursed lips. Nice strong pump of the arms. The carriage is pretty still. Keep reaching into the straps. Nice. Inhaling and exhaling. Slide the ribs to the hips a little further. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. And then lower back down. Awesome. So from here, let's put our feet into the straps. If you have anything less than 2 springs, then adjust your spring tension. We need the weight to help support. Reach the legs out on the diagonal. Rotate your legs turned out so you're connected through the back of the hips. We'll start with beats. So bend your legs in like a frog. Press your legs back out, point through the feet, then open about as wide as the reformer, close. And then we make the open close a little faster, emphasizing the close. Push out, close. Bend in, press out, close. Bend in, press out. It's like you're clapping your inner thighs together. Should feel like the inner thighs have to work like brakes to stop you from smacking your heels into each other. Good, Melanie. So push your legs out, open, close. Bend your legs in, straighten your legs out, open, close. Add that open, close, Melanie, if you can. Bend in, press out, open, close. Bend in, press out, open, close. And then start to make that open, close a little faster. One more time. And then we're going to add, so we're beating the legs 4 times. Together, 2, 3, 4. Bend in, press out, together, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, if that's not working for you, go back to what you were doing before. Bend, press, squeeze, 2, 3, 4. Bend, press, last one. Good. Keep the legs straight. We're going to go into the full frog exercise. So we'll go slow first. So hinge at the hips, bringing your legs up towards the ceiling as far as you can, keep your pelvis down. Now keep the carriage still as you bend your knees, bringing your heels towards your tail to frog position. Open your legs out into a V, carriage is still, and then press the legs back to the start position. Now start to connect it all. So the legs go up towards the ceiling, pelvis stays down. Bend the knees to your diamond or frog shape. Extend the legs to the V. Press back to the start position. Hinge at the hips, bring the legs up. Bend the knees into the frog shape. Yes, try to keep the carriage still as you go from frog to diamond, and then it has to move as your legs come back together. Good, stretch the legs up to the ceiling. Here's where I want you to keep the carriage still. Don't move the carriage as you bend your heels in towards your butt. Yes, you got to use the back of the legs a little more. Reach the legs out and press around. Twice more. Hinge at the hips, pelvis stays down. Bend the knees, frog, diamond. Reach out to a V, sweep down and around. Last one. Hinge the legs up, bend into a frog, reach out to a diamond and circle back around. You're still turned out. We're gonna go into stag. It's like a check mark. One leg bends, the heel comes towards the tail, the other leg goes out to the side, both legs push back to the center. Then one heel in towards the sit bone, the other leg stays straight, both legs press to the center. Let's see it. And one leg, yes, that's it. And now each time come back to straight legs in the middle or else it gets weird. So you make a check mark to one side, you come back to that start position, home base. Come back to home base each time. Check mark, home. Check mark, home. As you continue, keep your pelvis and your ribs in the center. The pelvis might want to shift off center or the ribs might want to. Usually things shift towards the straight leg because it's a heavier lever. It's kind of pulling you more. You're trying to keep everything centered. One more each way. And then you can reach the legs out on the diagonal. Make sure your headrest is down. And we're gonna go into short spine prep. If you wanna do the full right away because you know it, feel free. But we'll start on the diagonal. You rotate the legs to parallel, hinge at the hips and bring your legs up towards the ceiling. Then stay there, keep the carriage still, rotate your legs turned out, pull your legs into that diamond frog shape again, and then press back out to the start position. So rotate the legs to parallel, hinge at the hips, take a breath, stretch through the back of the legs, rotate the legs turned out, pull the heels towards the tail, and press out. You can stick with this or you can go into the full inverted exercise. So you rotate to parallel, hinge at the hips, start to articulate up off of the floor. The carriage comes all the way into the stopper. Yeah, rotate turned out, pull the heels towards the tail, roll down through the spine, pull in and press out. Rotate to parallel, hinge at the hips, articulate up, open across the front of the hips, turn out, pull the heels towards the tail, roll back down to your spine. You're gonna do twice more on your own timing. I'm gonna watch a little and press. Good. On your own timing, try to articulate through the spine, press up through those hips. Yeah, you're not putting a lot of pressure on your neck because you're putting your weight between your shoulder blades. This will be your last one on your own timing. Knees should be really straight when you roll up. Carrie, that looks awesome. And roll back down through your spine. Once you get back to the start position, you can take the straps off your feet and put the straps in your hands. We're gonna go into coordination. If you know you can't do arm work with this 2 red springs, then feel free to adjust it. Bend your elbows at your side, imprint, and lift your legs up to tabletop. So we're gonna start with just nodding the chin, flexing the upper body up and pushing the arms long, then stay there. Bend your elbows, lower back down. Stretch the arms, flex up, bend the elbows, lower down. And then you're gonna add to this, your legs extend and everything bends. Good. Press out, arms and legs, and then lower back down. So there's a little nuance here. So you're gonna stretch everything out and come up all together. Then when you lower down, I want you to bend the knees in first and then bend the elbows. So everything goes out together, you hold, you bend the knees in first, and then you bend the elbows. Then we're gonna add the open close. So the upper body comes up, the legs extend, the arms are long. Open, close the legs, bend the knees in, bend the elbows. And again, press yourself up, open, close, bend the knees, bend the elbows. You can stay up the whole time if you want. Open, close, bend the knees, bend the elbows, meaning you don't have to put your head down each time. Straighten your arms and legs. Open, close the legs, bend the knees, bend the elbows. Twice more. Stretch up, open, close the legs, bend the knees, Bend the elbows. Last one. Stretch the arms and legs. Good. Bend the knees. Bend the elbows. Good. Lower back down. Take the straps in one hand and roll to your side to sit up and turn around to face the other direction. As you start to turn around, take one of the springs off so you end up with just one spring. We're doing a little bit of back rowing, so your legs are going to be through the shoulder rests. Have at least a hand's distance behind you. Yeah. So like 3 inches or so. If you scoot too far forward, then you won't have the right tension in the strap. And if you need to sit on a platform, you can. The platform will just be right up against the edge, and the platform would be going the long way. Okay, so you're holding onto the straps. We're gonna sit up really tall. You're gonna start by rounding the pelvis under and pulling the hands into the chest. So lots of opposition between the feet reaching forward and the belly reaching back. And then come back forward and sit back up. That's the beginning. Make sure you're not just leaning back. So round the pelvis, initiate pelvis spins under. Good. And then sit back up nice and tall. I still am seeing some of like the upper back initiating where the upper back goes round first. It's the pelvis. So you got to get your glutes and hamstrings working. That's better. Rounding back. Once you're there, stay there. Upside down windshield wiper your arms. So your arms open kind of out to the side. The other way, Melanie. So go down to go out. Yes. And then stay there. Push your arms back and bring your head forward towards your knees. Yep. Take the arms out and around till they come back over the shins, over the legs. And then you stack back up. Then we put it all together and make it nice and smooth. Rounding back, pulling the arms into the chest. Upside down windshield wiper the arms so the arms go down to open. Push back with the abs and the arms to bring your head forward. Stay in that curled position as the arms go out and around like oars. And then you stack up nice and tall. And again, rounding back, windshield wiper the arms. Abs and arms go back, head goes forward. Sweep the arms out and around. The hands meet over the legs and you stack back up. Last time, rounding back, windshield wiper open the arms. Press the belly back and bring the head forward. It should feel like an active position, not passive. Sweep the arms out and around and then stack back up from tail to head. Good. Keep the straps and just come to kneeling, facing the back still. Hold up onto the ropes as high as you can reach without leaning forward. Pull the arms back towards the hips, making sure you've got your balance, you're nice and controlled. And then reach the arms back forward. So your glutes are working, the abs are working. Make sure you're working in both directions. You're really thinking of like a thick quality to your movement, like you're pressing back through honey and pressing back. So this is called chest expansion. So the goal is to open across the front of the chest. If you just push your arms back, your shoulder rolls forward and then you're not expanding your chest open. So don't let your shoulders roll forward. Try to stay really wide across the collarbones. Pull up on the low abs. Then we're gonna take and press the arms back. Do a slow motion little pulse from the upper arms. Make sure the shoulder's not rolling in. 3 pulses, then the arms reach back forward. And you sweep the arms back, little pulse. Back, back, back. Nice, Anita. And reach forward. Yeah, wide across the collarbone. If your palms are facing back, most likely your shoulders rolled forward. It is possible to have the palms facing back. It's just the majority of us wouldn't be able to achieve that. Too much of our life is forward in front of us at a computer, driving, all that stuff. Yeah. One more time. Press back and little pulse. Do a few extra pulses here, trying to go back behind you. Thick quality to your movement. And then reaching the arms back forward. You can put the straps back on the shoulder rests or the hooks. And we're gonna get our box out and we're gonna do some arms pulling straps and legs pulling straps. So you can put the long box on, put the foot bar all the way down. Your one red spring should work. Just make sure you'll be able to get the straps off the shoulder rest when we need them. You're not gonna start holding onto them, but you're gonna slide on to the box, chest over the front of the box, and bring your hands to the side of the carriage. Yeah, cool. Let your upper body flex forward and round forward, but keep your legs reaching out horizontally behind you. Yep, and now lift your upper body into one long line, then extend through the upper body, lifting yourself up a little further, then lengthen back to one long line, and then flex over the front of the box. Try not to just collapse as you go over the front of the box. Lengthen to one long line. Feel the width across the collarbones and like you're sending your heart forward to extend. Lengthen back to one long line and flex over the box. Then grab your straps and put that together with the arm movements. So arms are reaching up onto the rope as high as you can stabilize the shoulders. You're flex forward over the box. You're gonna start to pull the arms down as you hit your neutral, your knuckles kind of face the ground. You pull the arms back wide across the collarbone, and then you return. So as you do this a few times, try to lift and open the collarbone. Your bottom ribs will stay down on the box or the floor. Here, yeah, exactly, nice. Pulling the arms down, lifting the chest, sweeping back down, and flexing over the box. Pulling down, lifting up through the upper spine, lengthening and lowering down. Do two more like that. Yeah. Melanie, I'd encourage you to grab up on the ropes instead of on the straps because it'll give you a bigger range of motion. Yeah. So you start to pull down, lift up and back. And then if it's too heavy, feel free to lighten the resistance by a quarter spring or however much you need. On your next one, you're gonna pull the arms back towards the hips, stay there, bend and straighten the elbows, bend and press, bend and press. So you're doing your tricep presses. Your elbows are hovering by your sides, trying to stay wide across the collarbone, long through the spine, creating some opposition so the top of the head is reaching away from the feet. One more time. Sweep the arms back down. Good, you can bring your straps back to the shoulder rest or the hooks, slide off to the side, and you're gonna switch to your half spring. And then be careful as you come to kneeling on top of the box. So once you're kneeling on the top of the box, center one knee in the width of the box, not the length, but the width. Put your foot down on the ledge at the side of the box. One hand at a time, you never take both off at the same time. Put your foot or arch of the foot or ankle in the strap. Don't take both hands off. And then press your leg back behind you with the strap on it. Yeah, Anita, I think you might just need to lengthen your spine a little bit. So you're not rounded under, but you're really neutral. Good, okay. So then you're letting your leg come down. That's the easy part. So it's tempting to let the carriage go really far and round the spine. Don't let that happen. Stay in neutral. And then as you go down with the foot, the spine stays in the same shape. Keep your knee really straight. You're moving from the back of the hip and the back of the leg, not from your knee. Try to shift your weight a little bit back so you're not shifted way forward over the arms. Should feel like just as much abdominal work as it does feel like leg work, hip work. Yeah, nice, everyone. If it's too heavy with this half spring, then you just know that next time you'll do it a little lighter. If it's too light, of course, you could go heavier, but most people, this is pretty good for. Two more. reach down, press up and back, and reach down, press up and back. Bring the carriage in as far as you can by putting your foot on that ledge at the side and take the strap off your foot. You're trying to not put your knee down and like twist your leg. It's not very good practice. And then set your foot on the other ledge on the other side. Put the arch of the foot in the strap. Press your leg back. If you need to adjust, you could set your toes on the rail and adjust there. Awesome. So then you're going to let your leg go down to the side, only as far as you can stay neutral. Keep from pitching your weight forward over the hands so your face is staying kind of between the shoulder rests. Both arms are lengthened. You're trying to even out your weight between the arms as much as possible, but there's definitely more weight in one than the other. Nice. Good. Slow down the leg coming towards the ground so it's not just flying down. Two more. And then lower your leg down. You can carefully take one hand off, take that strap off, come off to the side, and we'll take the box and put the box away. You can bring your foot bar back up. And then we're gonna do long stretch. So usually 2 red springs is a good starting place. Headrest up. And if you feel like you're gonna slide, feel free to add anything you need to not slide on the headrest in the plank position. If you don't have a sticky pad, then you could use a flex band. That sticks really well. So if you put your 2 red springs on and your feet in the middle, you're gonna press yourself up into a plank and hold that plank position. So try not to sink down through the hips. Yeah, Ginge, lift your hips a little bit. It's really imprint, think imprint. And then bend the knees and come back in. And one more time, press out and up and hold. More or less your shoulders are over the foot bar. And then if you like, you can press that shape out and pull it back in, keeping your torso in the same position. Nice. Feet are on the headrest, not on the shoulder rest. It'll make it too heavy on the shoulder rest. I know it doesn't seem like it'd be any different, but it is. Good. Last one. And then sit your knees down. I'd like you to lighten your springs by a 1/4 spring. So not a huge difference, but a little bit different. And step yourself back up into the headrest and press yourself up into that plank. And same thing, less arms, more abs as you press out and pull yourself back in. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Make it as big as you can stabilize. And then set your knees back down. Good. From here, let's switch to 1.5 springs. Feet against the shoulder rests. Round your back, so 2/3 of your weight is back, 1/3 is forward, like we're going to do knee stretches, but we're not. And you're gonna start to lengthen your spine out to one long line, and then from tail to head, flex back in. So the beginning of this exercise called down stretch is the hardest because it has to happen simultaneously. So let me show you, explain it. You're gonna start to lengthen from tail to head, and before you finish, you push the hips out into extension. Then we'll press out and in a couple times, and then everything flexes together. So you're in that round cat back shape. You start to articulate from tail to head, and before you finish, you push the legs out into extension. You're in a big extended position like the bottom of a rocking chair. Most of you are in neutral. Try to extend your spine. Lift your spine, keeping the extension. Press out. The spine isn't changing, the arms are just changing. Push out, look towards the horizontal as you press out, look up to towards the ceiling and where the wall meet. The next time you push out, flex the spine from the center like you're getting punched in the stomach to bring it back in. Let's try that again. So you articulate from tail to head, and then you press the carriage out. You lift the spine to pull it in and press it out. And pull in, the spine is staying the same shape. You're just changing the shoulders. One more time, you push that shape out and flex the spine to come back in. Last time, articulate from tail to head, extend the hips, extend the spine, lift and press out 3 times. Nice. Lift and out. On your next one, when you push out, stay out there and let yourself flex the spine to bring everything all the way back in. Good. From here, stand up with your toes in that high half toe position at the shoulder rest. So round your back like elephant round back. So you're trying to not be flat, but you're trying to scoop your belly up towards the ceiling. And then from there, just push the carriage out a little bit and pull in. So you're in your round back elephant. Push out, pull in. Trying to round your spine. Nice. Rounding. Good, so that's the beginning of our up stretch. So you're gonna start to push the legs out, articulate from tail to head into your plank position. Pull the whole shape forward. Then when you can't go any further, head to tail, scoop the abs to come back up and in. And you articulate, pushing the carriage out, descend through the pelvis, tail to head to your plank. Pull the shape forward, head to tail, rounds back up and in. And again, let me watch and push out through the back of the legs first, descend through the pelvis, start to articulate tail to head, pull the carriage in plank. Most of you are lifting your butt to return to the elephant. See if you can round your back and think of abs and head initiating. Yeah, bring the plank forward, you're in neutral. And you're missing one step there, Ginge. Try again. So you're in your round back, you're scooping up through the abs, hollowing out your abdomen. The carriage goes out from the legs, initiating the pelvis descends. You articulate tail to head, you find your plank. You keep the plank as you come forward over the bar. Then head initiates and you round to come back up and in. Last go at this, push out. It's coming along. It's coming along. Okay. So from here, we're going to sit cross-legged facing the front of the reformer. If you're very confident, you could kneel, but you have to be very mindful. So I'd rather just sit cross-legged. So reach your hands into the strap. I switched to one red, sweep the arms forward and back a few times. If you need different springs, feel free to adjust them. Just sweeping the arms forward, sitting up nice and tall, and sweeping back. The arms are long by your side. Yeah, exactly. And then let's go into offering. So bend your elbows by your side. The carriage doesn't have to be all the way in. Reach the arms forward, serve a tray. Open the arms wide. Keep the width across the front of the shoulders as the arms come back in front of you. Bend in. And arms reach forward, open wide, close the arms, bend it in. Reach the arms forward, open, close, and bend in. And arms reach forward, open wide. Connect the abs to bring the arms back towards the midline. Press forward. And then return the arms to that long position down by the sides of the carriage. Sweep your arms forward towards shoulder height, come up above shoulder height, and then do a few tricep presses. If you'd like, you can hinge forward. Sometimes that gives you a little more range of motion. Push the arms to straight, bend them. Try to lengthen through your spine so you're neutral as possible. If you decide to come out of this, don't just come out of it any old way. You'll straighten the arms and sweep them down the way you got into it. Try to feel the weight even through both arms so one arm isn't doing more work than the other. 4 more. Bend, press. And then keep the arms straight. Sweep the arms down and back. And then you can put the straps back on the shoulder rests. You can keep your one spring. We're going to turn to face the side and have one shin up against the shoulder rest for mermaid. I'm going to do the mermaid with rotation. So your hands slightly forward on the bar. You're going to side bend up and over. Set your hand down, round your back to slide the other hand out of the way. Scoop through your abs so you're round, you're not flat. Bend and straighten the elbows. Let's do 3, 2, one more time. Straighten the arms. Stay there with straight arms. Start to look forward. Then let that pull you into extension of the spine. The carriage will come in some. And then like you get punched in the stomach again, the lower back kind of initiates you coming back into that round position. Slide the back hand towards the front. Turn to face the side. Lift up and over. And side bend towards the shoulder rests. And do that again. Lift all the way up and over. Rotate your shoulders towards the spring. Slide the back hand out of the way. Bend and straighten. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press the arms to straight. Start to look forward. Lift the spine into a little extension. Then scoop the abs and press back. Slide the back hand towards the front. Turn to face the side. Lift up and over. And side bend towards the shoulder rests. Reach towards the shoulder rests with both hands and pull with the hand closer to the front and push with the other hand to try to turn yourself around and look over your shoulder. All the way around yourself. Take a breath or 2. And then you're going to release your arms. Continue that direction to just flip your legs to the second side. Hand is towards the front of the bar, and you push the carriage away into your side bend. Set the hand down on the bar. Rotate your shoulders to square them towards the floor. Bend and straighten. Let's do 3 and 2, bending and straightening, and 1. Arms are straight. Start to look forward. Lift your spine. Bring the carriage in, then rounding through the lower abdominals to pull yourself back into that hawk position. Slide the back hand towards the front, turn to face the side, lift yourself up and over, and then side bend towards the shoulder rests. And start one more time. Big lift up and over into your side bend. Rotate your shoulders towards the floor. Slide the back hand out of the way. Bend and straighten. Let's do 4, 3. Try to find a nice connection through the shoulders. And last 1. Stretch the arms out long. Start to look forward. Lift your spine to come up into extension. Scoop the abs to press back out. Slide the back hand towards the front hand. Turn to the side. Lift yourself back up and over. And side bend towards the shoulder rests. Then grab a hold of the shoulder rest. Push with one hand. Pull with the other to twist yourself around. Looking over your shoulder. Try to get out of the kind of sinking into it, but lift your spine up really tall. Yeah, exactly. And then release your arms and turn towards the foot bar. Switch to 2 red springs. And we're going to put the feet against the shoulder rests. And we've been working on our knee stretches. So you're going to round your back, scoop your pelvis under. 2/3 of your weight is back, 1/3 is forward. And you're pushing out and pulling in. And this might be too light for some of you. You might make it a little heavier, 2 to 3 springs. Push, pull, push, pull. Yeah. 4, 3. Emphasize the pulling back in, and 1. So Anita and Dana, you were in neutral, more neutral. So on the next one, will you do a round back? Well, we do neutral. So lengthen your spine to neutral. With neutral, you should be able to push the carriage out further. Push out, pull in, yes. Melanie, sit back further. Carrie, sit back further. Yeah, and bend your elbows a little, point the elbows kind of down towards the springs. Yes, now don't move your upper body, just move your legs. Yeah, there we go. One more, and then rest. Okay, so then we're gonna try our round back. So we're gonna try the round back hovering. So round your spine and just hover your knees as low as possible off the carriage. Same position, probably a bigger range. Round your back, round your back. Lots of flat backs out there. Anita, Ginge, try to tuck your butt under. I know you're trying. And 3, 2, and last one. And then set your knees down and rest. Awesome. From here, we're going to put the headrest down and lay back down on our backs. So this is kind of a little bit of a resting moment here. Put the balls of the feet on the bar, push the legs all the way out to straight. And one more time, go into your running. Because you only have 2 springs, it should feel really different than the running we did earlier on heavy springs. Just push, pull. And then bend the knees, come all the way back in. Heels are gonna come up onto the bar. We're gonna do hip rolls, the full version. So you're gonna round your pelvis under, roll your hips up, then push the carriage out, lowering your pelvis towards the carriage. Lift your pelvis to pull the carriage all the way back in, and then roll down through your spine 1 vertebrae at a time. Awesome. Round the pelvis under, roll the hips up, trying to not move the carriage as you come up. Push the carriage out. The second you get out, you pull it right back in, and you roll down through the spine. And tip towards the belly button, roll your hips up, push out through the back of the legs, pull in, and roll down through the spine. Twice more, articulating yourself up, push out through the back of the legs, the pelvis lowers, the pelvis lifts as you pull back in, and then you keep the carriage still while you roll down. And last one, round the pelvis under, roll the hips up, push the carriage out, lowering the pelvis, lift the pelvis to come back in, and roll back down to your spine. Good. Grab your legs, give them a little squeeze, and then you're gonna roll to your side and sit back up. And we're gonna put the foot bar down, and we'll put the platform over the springs, 1 red spring. Okay. So stepping up for side splits, stepping up on the platform first, of course, and then press the arms and legs apart. If you're sliding at all, add something sticky under your feet and press the arms and legs apart and pull back in. Just a couple more like this, simple. Make sure you're coming all the way into the stopper and you're trying to not let the carriage kind of bounce as it comes in. You're controlling it from the hips. Last one. Bend your knees, stay vertical through your torso, and just pump the carriage leg out. Push, pull. Good. 4 more. And last one, come all the way back in, stand up and step on the platform to turn around to face the other direction. Standing up nice and tall, pushing the arms and legs apart, pulling everything back together, and pushing apart and pulling back in. As you're pressing out and drawing the carriage back in, feel like you're lifting yourself up really tall the whole time, not letting yourself sink down into it. Pull up and in, push out, pull up and in. One more time. And then bend the knees, pumping the carriage leg out and in. Staying as vertical as you can. Push, pull. Trying to not let the knee lock. Three more. And then coming all the way back in. Good. Stand on the platform. This is a preparation for back splits. So you're going to put your toes like on the edge of the carriage, bend your knees. So one set of toes, just one set. Yeah. And you're going to be pushing the carriage forward with just that front leg. So just the front knee is changing. If it's too heavy, of course you can adjust, but we're not going to do a million. Push, pull. So just the front knee is changing. Just the front knee is changing. And then stand back up and switch to the other leg. So we bend and push, pull. Get your body vertical. Some of you are really low and forward. Vertical. Yeah, there we go. Four, three, two, and last one. Come back in. Turn to face either side and step off behind yourself with one leg. It's just safer that way. And take your platform off. We'll bring the foot bar all the way back up. And 1.5 springs. If you don't have sticky socks on, then take your socks off so that you're not sliding around, because sliding off of this next one is problematic. You can put the headrest all the way up. Okay, 1.5 springs, right? Yeah. Hold on to the shoulder rests and then step one foot onto the carriage and then the other. Look towards the foot bar. So nothing's happening so far. We're just hanging out here. You're looking towards the foot bar and lift one foot up. This is just you proving to me that you've got this under control. And then set your foot back down. And now lift the other foot. And set it back down. Okay, so now take one foot into the crease of the headrest. So the ball of the foot is kind of in that crease. Again, transfer your weight onto the front foot and lift the other leg up. Then look at the foot bar and reach your foot back so the silver part of the bar is where the ball of the foot goes and the heel is on the black part. So if you, instead of sliding your foot, which makes me a little nervous, just lift your leg. Prove to me you've got balance here. And then press the front leg open into a lunge. Yep. And now straighten and bend the front knee only. So it's just the front leg that's changing. Just like we did with the last exercise, it's just a more extreme position. Stop the carriage when the knee is over the ankle. So you're not letting the carriage come way in each time. Keep your hips from going up and down. You can take a little bit of weight out of your hands, please do, but keep your hands near the shoulder rests. Push, pull, awesome. Don't lift your hips, don't lift your hips. Ginge, keep your hips where they are. Change your front knee. Yes, and many of us have tight hamstrings, so it's not like you're gonna probably fully straighten both legs. That's okay. If you decide to come out of this, lift your hips, take your weight back on the front leg. Once the carriage is against the stopper, you can set your foot down. We'll do the other side. So ball of the foot in the crease. Find your balance on the front leg. Then reach your leg back. Keep that back leg really straight. Push the foot bar away with that back leg. Bend and press the front leg. Bend and press. That's better, but straighten the back leg, everybody. Back leg has to be straight. Ginge, straighten that back leg. Even if you can't move. Oops, it bent again. Straighten it, straighten it. If you can't straighten it here, I'd rather you not do it because it's too much pressure on the back knee. Yeah, there we go. Everybody's very straight now. Keep the back leg straight. You won't even know it's bent. And all of a sudden it is. Push, pull, push, pull. And then bring the carriage back in. Keep your hands on the shoulder rest. Transfer your weight back to safety. And then step off to the side. Good. Awesome work. Your last thing on your own will be to do a single thigh stretch facing the other direction, either on the floor or up on the high bar. You decide. Good job. Thanks for coming. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a good weekend.